Army in '69 and was trained as a combat engineer. We got sent to Vietnam and was assigned the 20th Engineer Brigade. And from there, the first unit I was with was a mapping company. And because I was a college graduate, they didn't want to send us all to the field. And then I was transferred over to a land clearing battalion, which is sort of ironic because at that time, the Corps of Engineers was not held in good light by the environmental movement, which I was part of. And here I am over in the foreign country pushing over trees. And then I spent my year, I had a full tour. And I came home the 10th of April, 1971, and got out of the service in '72. Well, a lot of us had short-timers calendars where you had a picture of some sort and numbered squares, and every day you'd color in a square until you filled in the picture of the last day. I kind of knew, because by that time, having been in the service, as long as I had been, not that long, you just knew you were going to go, and you accepted it. And I remember on the flight over, as we left Yokota, Japan, and flew into Vietnam, it got very quiet on the airplane. As we all started to think, and now it starts. And it's kind of, it took us from the bus from the Benoit Air Base over to the Long Bin. The driver just said, I know what I'm doing, don't worry if they start shooting at us and all this. And then I went back through the next day and realized that he was just trying to scare us because it wasn't that bad. He made it sound like we're in the middle of a war zone. I mean, we were, but we could expect to be shot any moment. It really wasn't. Well, when I was with the mapping unit, we created maps. You took aerial photographs and made maps from the photos. And they also had a printing press and we could print maps, usually just for short-term maps. In the land clearing battalion, we were just clearing trails, areas that we knew the Viet Cong were in, or we'd try to clear the areas so they didn't have a place to hide. And that's basically what we did. At that time, we had two companies that were actually doing the clearing with bulldozers. And then from there, I used to have to go out to the field and determine, how many acres each of these new segments were, and how much was cut, therefore how many acres did we clear. Well, we came home as individuals, not units. And so we got to the airport here. Well, on the airplane that's in front of me, there was a little kid kept peeking at me and stuff, and I just laughed because it's so fun. They said, "Don't bother the man." I said, "I don't care, I love it." Then we landed here, and then my buddies had called my folks, said, "Do you mind if we meet them with you?" And they said, "No, come on." So I got there, and the plane was early, so my mom was the first one there. And then as I walked up the concourse, my friends kept coming like one by one by one. And so it was crazy. And then we all went over to my folks' house. And I don't remember ever finishing a beer. I remember opening a lot of them, but never couldn't remember ever finishing one. I was just higher than a kite. I mean, I wasn't drunk, but I was just high and happy. And then when I went to bed, all I could think of was, because the Army beds are steel rails on the sides, so you sag in the middle. Well, that wasn't my bed. My bed sagged on the outside. So I felt like I was going to roll out of bed. And it was so quiet. There was no, there was always noise. When I was in Vietnam, now there was no noise. So then I fell asleep the next day. It was about middle of the afternoon the next day. You can make it through anything. You just have to, rely on yourself and treat everybody with respect. Because there was a lot of tension there between, race, different races, even between the guys from Puerto Rico and the guys from from Texas, Mexico, the Southwest. Even though they're all Spanish, they really didn't get along. But you had to get along. And the one thing is that you can tell a veteran by the way they talk. It doesn't take you long. And I talked to other friends of mine around the country and said, yeah, you can go in a meeting and sit there for a while and just pick out the vets, just because of the respect you show everybody else. That was a neat experience. I think common to most of the guys I knew, we're proud that we went. We would never do it again. We shouldn't. Nobody should have to do it. But we were proud of what we did, even though we weren't supported. So that's what I have to share.